Okay, is it on? God will isolate you to speak to you. Listen, I was able to hear God for the first time in my life. The calling on your life, baby, was not a conference call. I just need you to hear me because there's more to your life than this. What was I talking about? Baby, you will never be the same. Okay, is it on? Oh, I think it's on. Hey, friends. Listen, your girl's down bad. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna sit here and act like I feel good, because I don't. I feel horrible. My throat, I'm sure you can hear it in my little raspy voice, but my throat hurts. I got snot nose. My body just feels like it's gonna just crash at any second. I did give myself rest today, which the people that know me know me. Y'all know that's very hard for me to do. As far as like staying in the bed, I'm just not one of them. I get very bored. Like, it's very hard for me to sit still. Unless my guy is in the bed with me, I don't like to lay up. I don't like to just be laying there. But I did today. I laid in the bed all day, and I'm actually about to go right back to the bed because I feel awful. My head is pounding, but I got a word for y'all today because I told myself I was going to do it. So here I am. I got a word for y'all today. I got a word. Okay. My word of the day is solo dolo. Solo dolo. And this word stemmed from a verse that I came across in Matthew 6:6. Again, I'm reading from the NLT version of the note-taking Bible from Hosanna Revival. It has the little note-taking section on the side, like so. Look at the little light bulb. You really tried to do that, didn't you? What was that verse? Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's going to have to be a word for sure. Anyway, we're in Matthew 6:6. It says, "But when you pray, go away by yourself, shut the door behind you, and pray to your Father in private. Then your Father, who sees everything, will reward you." Let's run it back. "But when you pray, go away by yourself, shut the door behind you, and pray to your Father in private. Then your Father, who sees everything, will reward you." Obviously, like every single scripture we read, there's so much that you can pick out of here. But when I read it, it stemmed my thought of a lot of my journey and my isolation season, and how lonely that has been, especially when I first started out. If you guys don't know my story, first of all, make sure you follow me on TikTok, okay? I'm live every morning, Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, and we talk so much about so much. And I share a lot of my journey and my story and my testimony on there. It was about a year and a half ago now that I was at rock bottom. And when I say rock bottom, like my version of rock bottom was when I felt like I truly lost sight of any reason to still be here. Like I couldn't even think of one reason why I wanted to stay on this planet, right? And I didn't know where else to go. I didn't know who to turn to. I had ran out of resources. I ran out of reasons. And I went to God. And I said, "God, I don't know if you're real, and I don't know if I believe everything that I was taught as a child," because honestly, a lot of people that were up there preaching on that pedestal treated me like trash behind closed doors. And so it was really hard for me to understand that what they were saying was any type of truth. And so I prayed to God. At my testimonies here on YouTube, although I do need to run it back. I need to run it back and give more details on it, because that night and the next morning was so profound. But I prayed and I said, "God, if you're real, can you come save me now? Because otherwise I'm giving myself like 30 days. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I quit. I give up." And it was alone in that room with nobody there except my son sleeping, snoring in the bed. It was that moment that changed my entire life. And I know it sounds so supernatural and so surreal, because it was. Like, it was so wild to experience. But after that, I went into this isolation season, and I didn't even really know that that's what I was experiencing. I didn't know about the journey and the spiritual gifts and the call. I didn't know nothing about none of that. And so I went into like this isolation season where I didn't want to talk to anybody. Like, there was nobody that interested me as far as holding a conversation or reaching out to. All the things that used to make me happy or used to bring me entertainment no longer made me happy. I was not smiling. I was not laughing. I wanted to just sit by myself. It's crazy because after I prayed that prayer and everything changed so drastically for me overnight, I didn't even put two and two together that was God. Like, I couldn't see it at that time. I just, something was completely different about me. And so I just went with it. And I had gotten this like vision. And when I say vision, I feel like I never understood what people meant when they said that, right? Like, I just assumed it was like a That's So Raven type of like, y'all know what I'm talking about. And for some people, it very well may be. But for me, it wasn't that. It was more so, it was like, I got this clear picture in my head of what my life could be like, what my life had the potential to become. And I really genuinely believe that I was given a choice whether to go after it or not. And I decided to go after it. I had no idea what I was pursuing. I didn't know what was about to happen. I had no clue what I was in store for. The past year and a half has been wild too. That's such an understatement, honestly. But I got this very clear picture in my mind of what my life had the potential to become if I walked into it, if I answered the call, right? And I went into this isolation season where I felt very alone, yet I felt very much at peace by myself. And I didn't know why, because I had always been a stranger to myself. I hated being by myself. I couldn't go to the store alone. I couldn't sleep alone. Like, I could not be alone. I hated me. And so it was so wild to me how at peace I felt being by myself. Now looking back, I know that I was very much in God's presence every time I was alone, right? I would talk out loud, and I know now that I was talking to God, but I didn't know that at the time. And I say all of that in full vulnerability to say that sometimes, oftentimes, most of the time, a lot of times, God will isolate you to speak to you. God will isolate you not to punish you, not because you don't deserve to have friends or you don't deserve to have people around you, but because you deserve to go after that vision. And God is trying to give you that vision. God is trying to tell you, hey, I'm calling you to bigger. I'm calling you to better. I have more in store for you than the life that you've been living. Just follow me. And in order for you to hear God, a lot of times you have to be isolated because there's too many distractions around you, love. There's too much going on in your little world. And a lot of the things that are distracting us, it's not even that they're all negative things. Of course, there's a lot of negativity that we're involved in on a daily basis, but a lot of the things that was distracting me, they were positive things, right? Like my job, my career, I had a small business at the time. I was hitting numbers I never, ever, ever thought that I was going to hit, especially as a solo entrepreneur. I never saw it for myself. And I was very successful in that field. Yet that was such a distraction for me because it wasn't my purpose. It was a passion, but it wasn't my calling. And so I struggled a lot with that. I couldn't even hear myself think because I was trying so hard to perfect all of these different roles in my life, all of these roles that I played. And in that isolation season, although it very much felt like a punishment at the time, I know now looking back that is, oh my gosh, the growth that came from that period of my life was insane. It was insane. In that isolation period is when I was able to hear God for the first time in my life. I was like, wait a second. That's you. That's what God feels like. That's what hearing from God feels like. And it ain't stopped since. Once you hear from God, you can't unhear it. It's like once you find all the ways to see God in the world and hear God, you can't unsee it. God's everywhere. I got to do a word on that too, but this verse reminds me that a lot of times God will isolate you to give you the calling, to show you the vision, to tell you and explain to you exactly who he's calling you to be, to show you that you are somebody. And even if this world has made you feel like you aren't, you are. And you have a huge calling on your life. Oftentimes during that isolated season, when you're by yourself and you're feeling lonely and all of these things, a lot of times that is God's way of saying, hey, I'm trying to reach you. I just need you to hear me because there's more to your life than this, because you are such a special, amazing being and you haven't discovered it yet. And not that that's your fault, but this world turned you into somebody that I did not create you to be. And if you just follow me, if you just open your ears, if you just eliminate all the outside distractions for just a minute and I can get to you, baby, you will never be the same. Ooh wee. If you just sit in a room by yourself and pray, if you just shut the door and eliminate all the outside drama, all the craziness, if you just sit there and take a breath, bro, like woosah for a second by yourself. Find peace in being alone so that you can hear from God, so that God can speak to you. Ugh. So hard, and a lot of times it can feel like punishment because it's very lonely, right? The calling on your life, baby, was not a conference call. God did not call me and say, hey Chels, I just want to let you know there's so much better in store for you if you just follow me. Hey, Chelsea's mom. Hey, I just want to let you know that this is everything that I have planned out for her. These are all the steps that she's going to take. It wasn't a conference call, which means a lot of people, even in your close circle that have always supported you, they've always loved you, they're not going to get it. Those that are supposed to get it will get it, and you will find them. Ooh, baby, you will find them. The people that are aligned with you, watch. I'm trying to tell you, that's gonna have to be a video too, because when you find alignment and you find those specific people that don't seem like a distraction and they just get it, like somehow, oddly enough, you guys have this connection and they just get it, they see the vision too, that's because God called them, baby. That's because you're part of their plan too, but that's neither here nor there. The moral of the message is the lonely season, that solo season where you're by yourself, where you are isolated, where you don't have any type of interest in hanging out with a bunch of people, or you just can't be exposing yourself to all of these outside things. A lot of times that is the isolation season that will change your entire life if you let it. It will change your entire life if you let it happen. If you stop trying to control everything, if you stop having fear of missing out of what? All the craziness that this world has to offer. Like, there's nothing that this world can offer you that will make you as happy and fulfilled and at peace as what God has in store for you. There's nothing. And for whoever this message is for, I am here to offer you support because I know that season can be very lonely. Chasing after a calling, chasing after a vision that only you can see is very lonely, but that is what it takes. That is why you need to have faith. That is why you need to learn to clap for yourself. You need to learn to cheer for yourself, applaud yourself, pat yourself on the back. You need to learn to celebrate every single small win. You need to learn to be your own best friend. You need to learn how to find peace in solitude. You need to learn how to be by yourself. Not because it's punishment, not because you're going to be like that for the rest of your life. Calm down. But simply because God has been trying to speak to you for a very long time and you cannot hear him. You can't hear. You have too much drama in your ear. You have too many unaligned friendships next to you. You have too many women or men sleeping in your bed that are not supposed to be there. You're wasting too much time doing unnecessary things, having unnecessary conversations, when really God just needs you to sit down for a second so that he can speak to you, so that he can show you what it is that he needs to show you, so that you can be better, do better, have better. I truly don't know how I just got all that out because I feel so awful right now. So whoever that message was for, that was straight from God, baby, because I don't know where that came from. Like, I'm so tired. And my head is pounding. I gotta go. But I hope somebody was able to find some type of value in it. I'm praying that I'm gonna feel better. I'm gonna go rest in the bed and allow myself the night to just woosah. And I'll be back with another word tomorrow. Bye, friends.